Most people overpay for car insurance without realizing it, not because they choose the wrong provider, but because they didn't know how the system actually worked in the first place. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to lower your premium, avoid common traps that cost drivers thousands, and take control of your policy the right way. These are real tested strategies, from browser privacy tricks to policy timing and even black box setups that makes a measurable difference in what you pay on a month-to-month basis. So whether you're insuring your first car or trying to bring down a family policy, this will show you how to stop wasting money and start saving immediately. Car insurance costs lately have gotten out of hand, especially for younger drivers and families. I recently helped a friend's son who was first quoted at over $7,000 for just a basic A to B car. That's actually insane. After digging into the process and working with experts, I found a list of actionable tips that can bring your costs down significantly. So in this video, we'll walk you through those exact steps so you can stop wasting money and start saving on your next car insurance policy. Whether you're getting coverage for yourself or someone in your household, these strategies can make a real difference. When you shop for car insurance online, insurers track your behavior through something that are called cookies. You're probably familiar with these if you've ever used any search browser, especially the Chrome search browser. These cookies basically act like a tracking device, and as you continue to browse the internet, you'll still have all of your previous search history as well as any of the activities that you do on various websites completely tracked, meaning that all kinds of, and then Google sells this information to providers to actually make decisions with them. Sometimes that meaning that you will end up actually paying more than you would otherwise if those cookies weren't being tracked. If you search multiple times without clearing your data, they may assume that you're desperate and increase your overall quote. One of the best ways to avoid this is by using something called incognito mode, which is basically a private browsing window that doesn't keep track of anything. Your search history, your cookies, and even your ad preferences are completely kept from Google's actual search engine. That way, these companies can't figure out what you're doing on the internet and they can't overcharge you. Also, one of the big recommendations I give to you is to clear your cookies between your visits to various websites. And of course, don't repeatedly search for the same policy back to back. This very small step can prevent unnecessary price hikes and give you a much cleaner, more accurate quote from the start. Now, comparison websites are also very useful for getting a range of different prices really quickly, but not every insurer is listed on those platforms. Some companies keep their best rates for customers who go directly to their site or call them. After you've checked a comparison site, take the extra step here to visit the insurer's own website and see if the price is actually lower. In many cases here, the same policy will cost you less when you bypass the middleman. And of course, always confirm if you're going direct gives you either a better deal or a worse deal before you lock into anything. Now, one of the other big factors in this is going to be the car that you drive, as this is going to play a major role in how much you actually pay for insurance. Every car is placed in an insurance group from 1 to 50, with group 1 being the cheapest to insure, and of course group 50 being the most expensive to insure. If you want to save money, you might want to pick a car that's in either group 1 or group 2. Models from companies like Nissan, Volkswagen, or Ford or Kia often fall into this range. On the other hand, cars that are commonly stolen or modified, like the Ford Fiesta, usually cost much more to insure, even if they seem relatively affordable up front. Now, before you actually buy a car, you can actually check its insurance group and make sure that it won't drive your premium up. This is done by a simple Google search. Always ask something like ChatGPT. Now, what's interesting about these cars is they also have something called categories, like Cat C or Cat D. And these are basically where vehicles that have been in accidents and then repaired and resold to someone else. Now, while they might seem like a bargain when you're buying them, they can actually end up costing you a whole lot more in insurance because providers see them as a much higher risk to insure. The insurer doesn't know the quality of the repair or how likely it is to fail again. If you're considering a category car, definitely run an HPI check or use a service like Car Vertical to see exactly what happened in the accident that it was in. Or of course, Carfax is also another option here. Make sure the repairs were well documented and of course, minor. If not, the savings up front might not be worth the higher premiums or even worse, denied claims that you could face later down the line. One of the other things you really need to look for too is any change to the original factory setup of your car. Whether it's a visual upgrade, a safety upgrade, or even just a dash cam or a tracker, this kind of thing needs to be declared in the car's report. Failing to report modifications can actually end up voiding your insurance altogether if you're not careful. Some safety modifications like immobilizers or dash cams may actually lower your premium, but only if you're actually transparent about them. So, of course, make sure you write them down or tell your agent about them when you're getting your insurance done. Now, on the other hand, performance mods like engine upgrades can pretty much always guarantee you to spike your premium costs. But of course, it's always important to declare everything, no matter how minor it might seem. That includes wraps, spoilers, and even certain lighting changes that you make on the car itself. It protects you from denied claims and keeps your policy valid. Now, when you're applying for insurance, most people assume parking on a driveway is always going to be cheaper, but that's not always the case. Some insurers actually charge you more if you park on a drive because it can make the car easier to locate, break into, and even steal. In certain situations, saying the car is parked on the road can actually reduce your premium, especially if your area isn't a high-risk area. If you have a garage, that's typically the best option here. Just make sure that whatever location you choose is, of course, accurate, because giving false information, once again, can void your policy completely. One of the easiest ways to actually bring down the cost of a young or new driver's insurance is by adding an experienced named driver, like a parent or even an older sibling, to the policy. This basically tells the insurer that someone with a proven track record may also be using this car, which reduces the perceived risk by the insurer. However, the main driver must always be the person who drives the car most often. If you falsely list an experienced driver as the main one to get a cheaper rate, that's called fronting, and it is illegal. If done correctly, adding a named driver is actually a legitimate way to cut costs while staying, of course, fully insured in this process. Now, with insurance, there's something called your access, which is the amount you agree to pay out of pocket if you have to make a claim with them. Setting a higher voluntary access often lowers your overall monthly premium because it signals to insurers that you're much less likely to file small claims. But of course, if you do this, make sure that you can actually afford to pay that amount if something does happen to your car. One smart move here is to add access protection to your policy. This is basically a separate insurance, and more specifically, it's a add-on that covers the cost of your access if you have to make a claim. Not every provider offers it, but when it's available, it can lower your premium, all protecting you from high upfront costs after an accident. Now, paying monthly for your car insurance might seem a little bit easier, but it usually comes with a little bit of added interest. If you have access to a 0% interest credit card, it's possible to actually pay the full amount of the insurance bill up front and repay the credit card in monthly installments without paying any extra interest. This way you get the savings of an annual payment while keeping your cash flow very manageable. Just make sure the insurer allows credit card payments and that your card is truly interest free. If you don't have that option, only commit to monthly payments if it fits comfortably into your budget. Never, of course, at the expense of an emergency fund or your income that you need to survive. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make is buying car insurance on the same day that they actually need it. When insurers see that you want immediate coverage, they basically are going to assume that you're desperate. And because of that, they're going to price accordingly. And there's actually been research done that shows that setting your policy start date 3 to 4 weeks ahead of time can significantly lower your premium. This simple trick really gives you a ton of leverage here because it actually shows insurers that you're prepared and, of course, not in a rush. Always plan ahead and, of course, lock in your quote early to get the best possible rate with your insurer. Now, if you're under 25 or new to driving, installing a black box, also known as a telematics, can drastically reduce your insurance costs. What it does is basically tracks your driving habits like speed, acceleration, braking, and even your mileage. If you drive safely, your insurer sees you as a lower risk and rewards you with cheaper rates. Some providers have actually reported savings of up to 40% after installing one of these. But there is the obviously catch that you do need to follow the rules of the road very closely. Going over the speed limit or exceeding your declared mileage can trigger penalties or even policy cancellations. If you're confident in your driving, the black box might be one of the most effective ways to lower your premium immediately. But of course, there is the trade-off. If you or your family have multiple insurance needs like home, car, or even pet insurance, there's often ways that you can save money by bundling them with the same provider. Insurers typically offer multi-policy discounts as an incentive for basically what they refer to as their loyalty program. This works especially well for families insuring multiple vehicles under one insurance account. The more that you combine these, the bigger the potential discount. Just make make sure that you still compare the bundled price against separate quotes to confirm it's actually cheaper for you. Loyalty really can pay off here, but only if the math actually adds up for you. Now, when your renewal notice comes in, don't assume that the actual price for that renewal is final. Make sure to call your insurer and let them know that you found actually cheaper quotes elsewhere, and in many cases, they will offer you a discount just to keep you on as a customer. This works because they know it's much more expensive to find new clients than obviously retain existing ones. Be polite here, but direct and ask if they can match it or beat the better offer. Even a very small reduction here adds up over time, and most people miss out on this because they simply just don't ask about it. And then one of my final pieces of advice is about lying on your insurance application and why it's probably the worst idea that you could do. Let's say you were to get into an accident and the insurer finds out that you gave false details, like your occupation, where the car is parked, or your mileage or how much you drive. If they find out that this information is false, there have been chances that they will actually cancel your policy and refuse to even pay you out a payment at all. And even worse than this, future insurers will see that a cancellation is on your record, which can lead to even higher costs or rejection from other insurers. So it is important to always be truthful when you're applying, even if you think the truth might raise your premium. A valid, accurate policy is really the only way that will actually protect you when it truly matters. Now, if you guys are not sure where to get your first insurance policy, or if you're thinking about making a switch, probably one of the best places to get car insurance is by using a platform like Lemonade. If you guys want to get started with Lemonade, make sure you use that link down in the description. It should take you to a page that looks something like this. As you can see, we'll simply click the check our prices button, which will take us into a guided step-by-step setup for figuring out exactly what kind of insurance we need, as well as the calculated cost for it. This is probably one of the easiest and quickest ways to get insured, whether it's car insurance, pet insurance, home insurance, or pretty much any type of insurance that you can think of. Their artificial intelligence will walk you through this entire process and do everything for you. That way, it takes away the headache of actually getting insurance with some of these other larger insurers. Once again, if you want to get started with Lemonade, make sure you use that link down in the description. Also remember that these links are affiliate links and we could monetarily benefit from them at no extra cost to you. So thank you in advance for supporting more videos like this one. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. And I'll see you guys in the next one.